Hello, what's up guys? I'm Kyle from KGR, and this is the SH Figuarts Tsunade. Now, this is the last figure we need to complete the legendary Sannin as well as their students. And I've been collecting this line since the very beginning, and I didn't think it was really going to happen until we finally got Orochimaru, so I had my hopes up, but now here she is, in a box you can't really see inside of yet. So we're going to compare this to the other Sannin as well as their students and put it in a few poses. And this figure was also Bandai exclusive at one point. However, if there are other places that do have this in stock, I'll leave them down below so you can order it yourself. So here's that side, everything else is blank. We're going to open this box up so we can actually see everything else. And as of right now, we have two more characters coming out. We have another Jiraiya coming out, so we'll get that and compare it to the other two Jiraiya releases. As well as we're getting Hinata, which I do have all of those pre-ordered, so I'll make videos on them as soon as I can. So, let's open it up. There we go. Come on, slide out. There we go. There she is. So we're going to move this box out of the way for now, and here is Tsunade in the box. So you get to see a couple of her faces, the extra Naruto head, a couple of different hands in there, as well as the usual, like, how they decorate the box with, like, the thick brush strokes, the color, and all that fun stuff. So you see her in one pose here, another pose there. Another pose on the bottom, generic top. The back has even more poses on the back. And then I do love the fact that it does come with this head for classic Naruto, which I probably should have brought that over. I guess I'll do that when that part comes. Because I can't remember if classic Naruto comes with a thumbs up or not, because if it does, then that'll be perfect for this head. But without further ado, let's open it up. I always ask this in every Naruto unboxing video I do. But who do you want to see next? Because I feel like at this point we're missing Neji. And I feel like that'd be necessary. But let's slide this out. And there's everything there. From what it looks like, the necklace is a separate piece. I'm not a fan of that, to be completely honest. I wish I was like molded onto her. And then we have the instructions as well as the cardboard back. We'll pull out the instructions just to play it safe, but I don't think we're going to need them. But let's see if we can elegantly open this without making everything just fly around. So let's see. Okay, a little bit of movement and necklace flew around, but okay. And then when it comes to Tsunade herself, she has a little bit of plastic right there. That just slips out real easy. And here is a closer look at Tsunade. I'm going to address the elephant in the room. The fact they gave her cleavage on an action figure, I feel like that was necessary. I find it comical. But I feel like if they didn't have that, the fans would be severely disappointed. And for the most part, her articulation looks pretty fine. But the inside of the elbow hinges do look a little bit ugly because you can see like how the articulation works and stuff. But honestly, I think it looks fine. She has articulation in her ponytails as well, or her pigtails, I mean. But because of her also having heels, I hope it's not too difficult to keep her standing. But I'm sure that this figure is going to be posing just great. But I think we probably should get the necklace on her. I assume you just pop off the head and then just slip it on, right? Yeah, from what it looks like, that's pretty much what you do. So we're just gonna pop this off real quick, and we're gonna just slide that on. And I feel like there's a way to like tuck it under her collar. Gotta do a little bit of manipulation, but I think you can get it in there. Thankfully, I do have this little plastic bit that I got from, was it I think an Amazing Yamaguchi figure, but I feel like a toothpick will also do the job just fine. And there we go. That looks perfect. Be honest, why they didn't like just put that on her immediately is kind of odd. And I almost completely missed. It's easy to mess it up where if you try to put the neck back on, you can miss the peg hole and just make it so like she has little to no neck. So that looks silly. So be careful, just put this back on. You'll hear a satisfying snap, or at least feel a satisfying snap. And then everything is back to place. But let me know in the comments, do you believe that they should have molded the necklace on, or are they happy that it's a separate piece? Because making us having to take off the head to put that on is a little bit annoying, but I don't know, it is what it is. And then the movement in the wrists is really weird. So like, not only do you have your your ball hinge that you normally have, but you also have a ball peg at the bottom of her sleeve to move however you need to. I feel like if this would have came out like 8 years ago, it wouldn't have had this, and it probably looked a little bit uglier as well. But we have it now, and I'm very grateful for it. It's really good. And oh, I wanted to say your ab crunch doesn't suffer at all, but be careful, apparently. Sweet lord. But doing that does show the mechanism on how everything works. That's interesting engineering. But everything is made out of like a soft plastic, so on paper, movement shouldn't be hindered. But be careful, like bending her around, because she does have decent waist movement, so at least there's that. But overall, good figure. But now that we have Tsunade, like completing the Legendary Sannin, as well as having the complete Team 7 of Shippuden, we still need Sakura in the younger form, because you already have Naruto and Sasuke. So, give us that. But before we pose it and play with it, let's compare it to a few other figures quick. And as I'm trying to set this up, yeah, getting her to stand up is a little difficult with her heels. She can balance herself well. It's just getting the proper foot placement is a little bit tough. But here she is next to the other two Legendary Sannin, and scaling does look good. This Jiraiya in particular is the Comic-Con special color variant, so this one looks a lot more vibrant in comparison to everybody else. However, again, when the new Jiraiya comes out, I will be comparing it to the other Sannin and all the other Jiraiyas and all that fun jazz. So as of right now, they look great, but it kind of bothers me that Tsunade doesn't come with a cross-armed fold like how the other two figures do. But overall, looks pretty good. I'm not going to compare it to everybody from Team 7 because I feel like Sasuke is not very necessary. However, here she is next to Sakura, and they look phenomenal together, with them being like both healers as well as being her student and all that stuff. And me choosing this face in particular, that wasn't intentional. I just had it on the shelf like that, so that was just all luck. That actually looks pretty good. But here she is next to Shippuden Naruto. Naruto looks a little bit tall, but I feel like that's accurate. But it looks so good. I like that. And I think it's funny how, again, I chose this Naruto off the shelf because he comes with a younger version of this cheesy face. Speaking of, while I'm here, now I'm curious. Does classic Naruto comes with a thumbs up? I think he does. I lied. From what it looks like, it doesn't. So that's a nitpick for me. I feel like if you're doing that face, you have to have a thumbs up. But I didn't get a good look at the rest of the figure. Like, I just noticed how textured her front bangs are, and then the rest of the back of her hair is just like completely smooth. To me, that looks a little silly. Maybe it looks fine to everybody else, but to me, it looks a little weird. But let's grab young Naruto quick, swap the heads real quick, compare that, and then we'll get to posing this guy. Or girl, I should say. Okay, so here's young Naruto, so I guess we're gonna just pop off the head and grab this head and just pop that on and poke my fingers. Look at those indents already, sweet lord. And then we're gonna put his hand behind his head, and there he is next to Tsunade, and that looks good. I actually really like this. I'm not gonna pose this like on the shelf with this head. I'm happy that I have it now, but I do like this a lot. But we're gonna put the head over here. It's crazy to think of a beheaded Naruto. We don't want Naruto to go out like that. That would be really depressing. We don't want that. So we're just gonna put Naruto over here for now. And now let's play with Tsunade. I'm happy that the pigtails are on ball pegs in case you drop it off the shelf, it doesn't immediately snap. At least on paper it doesn't. Okay, but let's look at all the hands. I don't know why the hands are separated like that, but okay. Well, let's look at the box. Let's get some inspiration. First, let's do the the healing mode, I guess, or I don't know, whatever it is. The way when she has her diamond all like flashing out everywhere. Because in my opinion, this head looks amazing. I love this. I'm not gonna put it on the shelf with this head in particular. When I do certain photo shoots, then sure I will, but this is cool. So we're just gonna pop out this hair, pop out this head or face, put this face on, press that in there, and then we also gotta do the hands together. And again, I'm happy they mold these together. And I guess we're gonna test how well she can go across her chest. And then we gotta adjust the ball hinges. So one, they look good, so you don't see the articulation in there, as well as posing the hands right. So just gotta force. Oh goodness gracious! When things like that happen, it has me very nervous on if this is just gonna, you know, snap on me, or if the ball hinge is just gonna fall apart. Because I had the ball hinge on the wrist for my My Hero Academia Deku. I had that fall apart on me. And I feel that's just quality control. But thankfully it is getting a re-release. So I would say wait for the re-release to come out and then grab it. Okay. After a little bit of struggling, she gotta, you know, like repose her legs a little bit. But yeah, look at that. Doesn't she look cool? Yeah, this is a good looking figure. I really like this. And I don't want to say the marks on her head are like pearlescent, but the way the lighting is, at least in my eyes, I'm not sure how well it looks on camera, but like the way the light reflects it, it comes across very well. It looks very pretty for sure. So I just want to take this off and let's get her in a little bit of an action pose. Let's get her fists back on, because I want to test like this little kicking pose that you see right there. I want to see how realistically can you actually like pose this character, because everything is a very soft plastic when it comes to her clothes. However, if you do pose a figure like that, I wouldn't recommend keeping it on a shelf like that for very long, because then it'll end up just warping that, and you'll have to like give it a lot of heat treatment to like kind of reset it. That's why some people prefer soft goods. I'm not a fan of soft goods personally, unless they're done by like Mafex or who else does it. I don't know. There's some other company. I think it starts with an M. I can't remember. Mezco. That's it. And then you can articulate her hair so it looks like she's like a little bit more windswept. You know, rotate it if you really need to. We're gonna have one foot planted, then the other one just completely kick. I'm not going for the box exactly, but like I want to see how creatively I can do when it comes to her kicks. But another question is, can she balance it? Yo. Can we rotate it? Okay, with how my... Okay, so this apartment, for some reason, the floors are very uneven. So the way it sat on my desk like that, now it's pure luck. But now that I'm having it this way... Oh. I was so close. Now an accessory fell over. Now I'm stubborn. I'm confident I can like get her to stand up. But it doesn't help, like, the way I mentioned how the wrists work when it comes to like how there's like a ball peg so you can move that freely. The ankles are the same way. Like right under the pant leg, there's another ball peg so you can arrange that however you need to as well. So there's a lot of movement I gotta do to make sure it stands upright. Oh jeez! Oh, come on! Did it. I'm not doing that pose on a turntable because that's not happening. Like, she's not gonna balance. However, the fact that I can do that pose with no stand on her, very impressive. But yeah, here's sky view. Look at that. That looks so good. She can pull it off as well as balance herself. Good figure. Very good figure for that. Of course, you gotta have the comedic, like, shouting face right there just because it's Naruto. And we have so many weird options for hands. Like, I don't know what's up with like these hands or these hands. I don't know exactly how I'll use those in particular. However, I do have an idea when it comes to the smiling face. Give me one sec. Because like you can use that to make her look devious. You can have her just look, you know, genuinely happy and all that stuff. But the first pose I think of are bad intentions. I think she's trying to get her way, try to manipulate somebody, try and get out of debt, try not to pay off her gambling loans. Tsunade, you rascal. So we're gonna put on the flat hands to make it look like she's like rubber her hands together. I think she's trying to find a way to get Pervy Sage to pay for her dinner. However, getting her hands together is a little bit difficult because I feel like I get close and then they just separate. But I don't think that's just Tsunade, that's just action figures for me altogether. But it doesn't help about Tsunade's very large chest. And I feel like a lot of men are going to buy this figure specifically for that reason, and it makes me a little upset, but what you're going to do? I feel like if I really want to, like, perfect the hands being that close together, I have to get, like, sticky tack to, like, ensure they stay together. We're going to have her crouching a little bit because she's also getting Naruto into this deal, too. Okay, I'm having her crouch a little too much. Just gotta fix that. And there we go. She's being devious with Naruto. Overall, I feel like when it comes to a Tsunade figure, this is mostly decent release. I think this is mostly solid. I kind of wish she would have had the crossing arms so she can have that with the other Sannin. However, having her cross her arms above her giant chest would be a little difficult unless they sculpt it in a really ugly looking way. But having the weird hands like right here to be like going across her hips, to be posing next to the Sannin like that, I think that would look fine. I think that's fine. If you're a fan of Tsunade, you're gonna like this release. She doesn't really come with ninja weapons. I don't think she really needs it. I think she's fine. My only real nitpick with this was the fact that the necklace was a separate piece. Because from all the poses that I see, not a single one of them has it separated. It is nice that it is like above. It's not like molded on, so it's not like, you know, so it looks like it's floating a little bit. So I guess that's a nice touch. However, having that already on would have been really nice. I guess they needed a reason to like just take up more space in the box. I don't know. And even then, you have all this dead space down here. So, like, who are you convincing, my guy? I don't know. But thankfully, with having, like, an extra tool, like, maybe if you have a toothpick laying around, you can easily get it in there and have it stay nice and tidy, and it won't move around too much as you're posing it. But if you're a fan of Tsunade, you're gonna be a fan of this figure. I'm happy that she was finally added to the SH Figuarts lineup. Now I have all three Sannin. But now I need a young Sakura. And I have a good feeling if they released a young Sakura before Tsunade came out, it would have came with a separate face or a separate head for Sakura, not Naruto. Because Orochimaru came with a head for Sasuke, and that was very appropriate. However, coming with that Naruto head is very appropriate because the amount of time they spent together within the original show, and I'm pretty confident when the Sakura comes out, it's gonna come with enough heads and faces to do whatever you need to with. But I'm looking at the Naruto head right now, and like, it looks like from the seam lines back there that it would separate from the hair so you can actually like do whatever you want to swap out a different face if you really need to. So now I'm curious. You can. I didn't think you'd be able to do that. So technically you can do this. But the way that these faces come on with the original Naruto, you can't swap out different heads like that. Like, does this mean we're getting more Naruto heads in the future or Naruto faces? Because if they would have just painted it the way they did and sculpted it the way they did, that would have been fine. But doing this, why? If you're gonna do this, Tamashii Nations, you better supply more faces. Well, we learned something today, boys. Now I want more. If you're gonna do that, Tamashii Nations, you gotta give me more. Because why would you engineer it like that if you were just going to have that face only? Well, I like this. Good lineup. I would give it, I guess an 8 out of 10. Balancing her is a little bit of a problem because of how her ankles, her, you know, her shin, as well as her just having heels. Like how that all works, it makes it a little bit difficult. The heels being the biggest contender, to be honest. And I feel like what she comes with is fine, but like I can't help but to want a little bit more, you know? But when it comes to doing stuff like stop motion and like, you know, just posing an action figure and just having fun with it, I feel like it comes with enough to do what you want to do. But like there's something that I feel like that they could have added outside of crossing arms. But I can't put my fingers on it. Maybe it's like different hands. But I don't know what other hands I'd want, you know? Maybe it's just relaxed hands? I'm not sure. But anyway, thank you for joining us. If you're new and you like what you saw, you know what to do. The description is going to have places on where to pick this up, as well as my link tree if you want to follow me on any social media. But anyway, thank you for watching. I love you guys to death. And I'll see you on the next one. So peace, peace.